when we're talking about setting rates, it's not really standardized. It's not like when you go buy a can of Pepsi.
And it's a set price.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. And one thing that is interesting to me is that when I look at your social media stats, while they are very impressive, compared to sort of just the sea of other accounts out there, they're not like, it's not like you have 38 million. But yet you're able to get these big partnerships with brands like Google, Fairmont, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to put words in your mouth.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And that's something that I think about too, is that I don't have the biggest platform, you know, out of the sea of creators, out of everyone in this city even. Maybe I'm on this, I have less, in terms of following size, it is less than other people. But I keep that in mind, and I think, well, you know what, I might not have the most number of followers, but what I do have is a very engaged community.
Yes.
And I put so much work into my content. I love photography. I'm very, very passionate about photography. And so I want my photography to be really, really high quality. I love videography and making videos, and I want that to be really high quality. So I try really to focus on the quality side of things, and creating content that just really aligns with my brand, and working on partnerships that really align. And I'm very, very picky with what I work on. And I say no to more things than I say yes to, and that's hard sometimes.
Right.
But I really pride myself in having like very strong values and just creating really good work. And I think brands do recognize that, and they want to be aligned with that, which is great.
Right.
So it's a balance, I guess.
That's what I was going to say, is that even though your following count isn't the highest, if anyone were to take a look at any given post that you have, the engagement is through the roof. And sometimes I'll just like scroll through them, and it really seems like you have a community that is built around your brand. And if there's anything that I want people to take away from this, it's like doing it the right way really does pay off.
Exactly, yeah. But that's the long route, and it takes a lot of patience. And I think sometimes brands do take the wrong approach, and a brand might say, well, if you have 0 to 10,000 followers, you have this amount of money, 10 to 20, this amount of money, etc., etc. And it's not actually about how many followers you have, because that could be inflated.
Exactly.
That's not necessarily a marker of how engaged your audience is, or how high quality your content is, or even how successful your brand is. So I think there are still brands out there who will say, you don't have 50K, we're not going to work with you. And I think that's really not the right approach to take, because it's not just about the number, it's about everything that makes that creator who they are, and their audience and everything. It's sort of a whole range of things to put into consideration.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think brands are slowly coming around and understanding that it is about quality and not quantity?
Yes. I mean, some get it, and just some really don't. And it is quite frustrating sometimes when a brand will come back and say, I'm sorry, you don't have enough followers. And I'm like, well, you could work with somebody who has 100K, but you don't know how they've got there. And maybe they haven't got there by the most authentic method. So it's just an education at the end of the day. And sometimes I spot really shady things in contracts, and I will tell the brand, and I'll, you know, in a constructive way, sort of teach them that actually, you know, you can't have a compensation that isn't fixed. Or, you know, if you want to use my content on print and on TV and on a billboard, then that would incur a separate fee. Because if you were to go to a photographer and say, we want to use your photography on a billboard, then that would be a separate rate to, we want to post it on Instagram.
Right.
And so I think it's sort of educating brands and companies that this work has value.
Yes.
And, you know, if you want high quality, very, very professional content, then sort of the professionalism needs to come with it.